Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where we're about to start what should be the last day of the last trial, and I'm so not ready for that. Let's start anyway. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Normally this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make.
Chief Gant, who seems to be the mastermind. Yeah. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, G, been back to the pool yet?
No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work.
No, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that.
If you don't mind me asking, Chief, what exactly what is this proposal of yours?
Oh boy. Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Oh. Well, she already confessed to the crime. Never mind. I thought she was going to go in and confess to the crime, but she kind of already did. Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Can I object? I'd like to object.
What's this all about, defendant?
I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana. Come on, this is all sorts of sketchy. There we go. Sorry, guys. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. Lana? Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I'd like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial. Even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening.
It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
One moment, Your Honor.
Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature.
Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. Why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, How? That is so suspicious!
I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant.
What?
I'm creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes.
Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy.
I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness.
Oh, to whom?
With its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Skye.
Whoa!
The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant?
Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Come on! You can't threaten him in open court.
Miss Emma Skye, please take to the stand.
Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is Emma Sky. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time.
Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Was an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant?
Yes, it most certainly is.
Alright.
Well, okay then.
He sure gave in fast.
No. Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago.
Trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Oh, so do we not get to, like, interject? Since we're not on the case anymore. 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor.
You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
Oh, I still get to... I'm still the defense. Okay. Explain. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair.
I believe they shared the same office.
That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day, too.
The police department and the prosecution...
Oh my god.
In the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day.
Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. Okay, man came running in, took me hostage. What else you got? A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer.
Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest.
Oh! Did Gant kill Marshall? Or do I think I know that already.
When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right?
Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky in Gant's office.
There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there?
That day there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Almost forgot about Gant.
Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Yeah, there's a hole there. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark just then. The lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out.
Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Why would I not hear more? Yes? So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial.
And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw?
Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before.
Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
No, I'm gonna ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. What?
But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture.
Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. I drew a picture that seemed, but it seems to have been lost. Oh! Okay, hold on. I'm gonna press this first. I think I know what I need to do here. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes.
That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died. Yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken?
No. But I did draw it, I swear. I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. Yes! I guess I should check the evidence again. Oh, where is it? And where? Yes! That. Pictures drawn on the back of the evidence list in magic marker. Got a very bad feeling about this. But we couldn't see what was on the actual evidence list. Okay. So we need to...
Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image on your mind. Can you please describe it to us?
The man raised up his knife and stabs Mr. Marshall in the chest. Okay. That must have been a real shock. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly.
Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage.
When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie. But Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Okay, so we pressed everything. I think, where is it? I drew a picture, okay. Let's present. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Whoa! Why are we attacking Edgeworth?
Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture.
That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold!
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident.
Please turn it over, Your Honor.
Turn it over, turn it... Ah! What's this?
Yes, what is that?
Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list?
Me?
Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list.
Huh? These lists, they're different from each other.
What?
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you.
What?
What? Poor Edgy. I'm sorry, he's worthy now.
Order, order! Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor.
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's possible. Let's see.
Is something wrong? You seem to be having a stroke.
You even have to ask. It probably looks like nothing on that other sheet.
Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing.
The blue badger! But so it it looks like nothing, but put it together.
That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room.
Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives.
I guess he was out of scrap paper. Yeah, hold on. No! Hold on. Wait. That's not what I expected. No, there's something to this. But what is it? Okay. I'm not gonna waste a ton of our time, but I feel like there's something there.
Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. There's something off about that. I can't quite place it. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Darkbot to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Or does it?
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay, let's... Hold it! Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything.
During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Kant and Lana Sky.
2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
Flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. Okay. So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma, I'm just glad she wasn't hurt.
What happened after the lightning flashed?
You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry.
The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further?
Yes. What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Please tell me that this whole trial they just go back and forth saying I'm not the bad guy. Anyway, this picture. Okay. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives.
Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright?
I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. No, of course not. I better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives. Okay, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture?
Huh? Oh, well, yes. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. I feel like there's a couple. Okay. What do we have to work with? We have the piece of cloth, which I don't think helps us right this second. List of evidence. There's still something off about that. I didn't see a good place to present that, though. Photo of them at the award ceremony. Oh my god. Stabbed in the back. Oh, okay. Hold up. Must have fainted. I'm gonna... Hold on. That's strange. Yeah, okay. So it's right there. Oh, yeah, there we go. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it like it was just like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us.
What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy? Oh. I mean... Oh. Shoot. I just assumed the picture itself was a contradiction. I wish I could go back and look at the evidence. I feel like I overlooked something. Okay, so... I wish I could go back and look at that autopsy report. Oh god, what is the... Because I guess he could have been... He could have been stabbed in the back. Oh, I wish I looked at that before. I was just like, oh, that clearly he's standing over him and he was stabbed in the back. But from there, it looks like that is actually possible. Oh. That's like the one thing that's hard is right now, like all I can do is kind of guess because I can't go back and look at any other evidence. One thing does strike me as strange is that this does not at all look like an... Oh, that's not a knife. Well, no, she said she saw a knife. It's just not a very well-drawn knife. I'm gonna try. I have absolutely no other idea. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Ah, okay, so what is he supposed to be holding there? Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is... Oh, that's why. Okay. Which we knew.
Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. But the tip broke off inside.
If I recall, The tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem?
It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Oh, we got him.
Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand,
But then how would the tip be in there? Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there.
That's right, but what does this mean?
the tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
But why would she draw that? Like, it'd be one thing if she had just drawn a normal knife. That would have made sense, that she had forgotten that it was broken. But saying it was broken when it wasn't makes no sense. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly.
But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Yes, there is. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? Got him.
You're treading on thin ice, Wright.
All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility.
No. Ugh.
Order, order, order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. The knife isn't broken there, though. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife.
If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife.
What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? There would have to be, otherwise that doesn't get us anywhere. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife.
I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Oh god. What was the real murder weapon? Take a look at the real murder weapon. I feel like this is part of it, but I don't think that's the first part yet. I think Prosecutor Marshall I'm trying to piece this together. So Prosecutor Marshall comes in the room. And Dark gets the jump on him. I wonder if it's one of those things where maybe Marshall got stabbed and was like bleeding out. And so someone just kind of, well, no, because he was only stabbed once. I wonder if it says anything about head trauma. Okay, that's the broken knife from before. You know what I keep going back to? I wonder, oh, and that vase is there too. I'm gonna try something. This is probably, it feels, I'm so indecisive. It's definitely not Edgeworth's knife. And it's not that knife. We know that. I'm gonna... Oh! Oh! Alright, now I have two ideas and I can't decide. I can't decide how to present it though. Like, I don't know which one is easier to present. I'm gonna wait, hold on. I'm gonna present the picture because that at least gives me my two thoughts. Oh, you know what? Okay. I've got this now. Okay, there we go. I got it. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right there, right here inside this picture. Duh. I opened this up and I'm like, ooh, the knife the statue is holding is clearly it. No, because it's not broken. You know what is broken, or at least has a broken tip? The little sword thing on the award. That's how it got broken. This is a picture of the awards.
This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ugh.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's the broken murder weapon.
Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award.
Order, order, order!
Alright, we'll just have to hear more about that in the next episode. Oh man. Sorry that one took me a while. I looked right at it is probably the most, the thing that has me frustrated at myself. I stared at the weapon and I'm like, hey, what about the statue though? Sorry about that. Alright. Hopefully we'll do a little bit better in the next episode. Alright, anyway, that's gonna do it for me. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.